Fruit flies. These tiny insects were the very first animals ever sent into space, launched by the United States aboard a captured German V-2 rocket in February of 1947. Coming from standard laboratory research stocks, they were chosen because their genetic structure shares remarkable similarities with human DNA, making them ideal subjects for early biological testing. What made this mission unique was its primary objective to study the cellular effects of cosmic radiation at extreme altitudes before the capsule safely parachuted back to Earth. This milestone matters immensely because it proved that complex living tissues could survive the physical journey into space, paving the very first step for all future biological spaceflights. Albert II. This rhesus monkey became the first mammal in space when he was launched on a suborbital flight by American researchers in June of 1949. Traveling inside another modified V-2 rocket, he reached an altitude of 83 miles, crossing the official boundary of space well before human astronauts ever left the ground. Unlike the insects that preceded him, his capsule was heavily instrumented to monitor vital signs, providing scientists with the earliest data on how a mammalian cardiovascular system handles the intense stress of rocket propulsion. His journey is a bittersweet chapter in aerospace history because, while he survived the launch and the microgravity environment, a parachute failure during re-entry resulted in a fatal impact, highlighting the severe dangers of early recovery systems. Laika. This stray dog from the streets of Moscow made history in November of 1957 as the first living creature to successfully orbit the Earth. Launched by the Soviet Union aboard Sputnik 2, she was selected for her calm temperament and her natural resilience to extreme cold and hunger. Her mission was fundamentally different from previous suborbital flights because it was designed as a one-way journey to test whether a living passenger could endure the prolonged weightlessness of orbital spaceflight. While she succumbed to overheating and stress just a few hours into the flight, her journey proved that higher organisms could tolerate the initial transition into a sustained orbit, a discovery that directly opened the door for human space exploration. Abel and Baker. These two small monkeys, a rhesus macaque and a squirrel monkey, became the first primates to successfully survive a journey into space and return alive in May of 1959. Launched together by the United States inside the nose cone of a Jupiter intermediate-range ballistic missile, they traveled over 1,500 miles downrange and experienced 9 minutes of complete weightlessness. What set them apart was the highly successful recovery operation that retrieved their capsule from the Atlantic Ocean completely intact and with both animals in stable condition. Their safe return mattered deeply to the global scientific community because it demonstrated that proper life support systems and heat shields could reliably protect complex organisms during the grueling process of atmospheric re-entry. Ham the Chimp. This young chimpanzee became an international icon in January of 1961 when he was launched into space as part of the American Mercury Redstone 2 mission. Hailing from French Cameroon and trained at Holloman Air Force Base, he was chosen because chimpanzees share a close cognitive and physical alignment with humans. What made his flight revolutionary was that he was not just a passive passenger. He was trained to pull levers in response to flashing blue lights during the flight to test human motor skills in microgravity. His successful performance under the stress of 6 Gs of acceleration proved that spaceflight would not incapacitate a pilot, clearing the way for Alan Shepard to become the first American human in space just a few months later. Félicette. This tuxedo cat from Paris remains the only feline ever successfully sent into space. Launched by the French space program in October of 1963, Discovered as a stray, she underwent rigorous training alongside 13 other cats, which included time in a centrifuge and compression chambers to assess her calm demeanor. Her suborbital flight reached an altitude of 97 miles, and scientists monitored her brain activity in real time using a series of surgically implanted electrodes. She returned safely after a 10-minute flight, and her mission remains highly significant because it provided unique neurological data on how microgravity affects the brain chemistry of predators that rely heavily on highly developed equilibrium and balance systems. Tardigrades. These microscopic eight-legged organisms, frequently known as water bears, were sent into low Earth orbit by the European Space Agency in 2007 to test the absolute limits of biological survival. Collected from various extreme environments on Earth, these creatures are famous for entering a state of deep suspended animation, where they expel nearly all the water from their bodies. What made this study extraordinary was that they were deliberately exposed to the vacuum of space, freezing temperatures, and intense solar ultraviolet radiation completely unprotected for 12 full days. Their incredible survival and subsequent reproduction back on Earth shattered existing assumptions in astrobiology, proving that complex microscopic life can survive the raw elements of open space and potentially travel between planets.